Yes, indeed, folks. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio, and you just experienced the horror of the Wurzels with Combine Harvester. I wonder how many listeners I lost there. Let's see. 2 listeners. That leaves us with just under 200. Not too shabby. We can do better, but not too shabby. Okay. Welcome to all those who've listened due to the new link on the WoW Europe site. Always nice to get some support and plugging that way. It says a lot about Blizzard that they are quite willing to help us out there. So, welcome to you all. And the community site says that we are aiming to start European shows soon. No exact date is being given, but to keep an eye out on our site. Well, the first European show is going to be this one. It is moving because I'm getting a job. It's unfortunate, but it was bound to happen eventually. I ran out of money for rent, so I need some work. So I did. And my work involves me helping to reject asylum applications. Yay. Anyway, let's get on to a discussion topic. Something vaguely interesting. Blizzard are not stealing your credit card details, is what I entitled this on my little list. I have a little list here of stuff to talk about. It consists of about 7 lines. And the rest I've got to think of off the top of my head. Which is why half the show sounds like bollocks. Well, most of the show sounds like bollocks, actually. Never mind. Anyway. Recently, Blizzard announced that they had the facility to scan your World of Warcraft client for the use of hacks. Not just elite hacks, all hacks. So, Tech Lead, our resident gnomish little git, said this: the Blizzard has always taken an aggressive stance against cheating in our games. This measure, as discussed clearly in our terms of usage, is an example of our efforts to protect the legitimate players and the integrity of the game service from those attempting to gain an unfair advantage through the use of hacks. Although I noticed you spelled it with CKS rather than X, which is very disappointing. Shame on you. As stated in the terms of usage, the information we obtain is solely for the purpose of identifying cheating in World of Warcraft and for no other reason. Please note that we do not share this information with anyone outside Blizzard. Now, I'm inclined to believe them on that. You'll find Blizzard has nothing to gain from skimming information off your computer that they don't actually require. They're running an exceedingly successful online game. A big success story. Massive, massive launch. And it's going from strength to strength. They don't need to steal money out of your credit card or sell your address to a spamming company. But inevitably, we saw it all over the forums. Blizzard are trying to steal my credit card details. Blizzard are selling my email address. Blizzard killed my hamster. Does this happen every single time something that has the remote possibility of being abused is introduced into some kind of service, that people go ballistic over it? I'll give you a hint. Your information is very easily obtainable anyway. It's very easy to find someone's name, address, telephone number, date of birth, list of favourite foods, etc. Not that hard at all. Blizzard doesn't need to covertly steal it. They can legitimately obtain it if they so wish. They already have your credit card details. I mean, for God's sake, you pay via credit card. And if people think they're going to steal money, are you insane? And it made me wonder, why have people got this attitude? My first impression, as I'm a pretty cynical kind of person, was this. Okay. People suck, in general. In general, people should be assumed to be stupid until proven otherwise. So, these people are irresponsible themselves. Perhaps they are scammers. They have scammed someone in the past, perhaps they've screwed someone over. So they assume that everybody else is like them. It's a company, it's big, evil company that listen to a little too much Rage Against the Machine, and they think that everything trying to make money is evil. So therefore, they assume that a company will use anything to get money out of you, including scanning your computer, stealing your credit card details, and your list of porn sites. And using them for their own evil ends. World domination, folks. Ah! No. But then I thought, there's always two sides to every coin. Except the infamous one-sided coin of Arabia. That only had one side. But we'll talk about that later. And I did some checking. Actually, that's a lie. My content team did some checking. Thanks to them for all the work they put in for this show. And I found something interesting. It's a CNN article from the May the 4th, 1998. Dramatic music in the background, guys. So perfectly timed there. StarCraft lawsuit, privacy and piracy. And it said this: Blizzard Entertainment's release of its popular StarCraft strategy game was a big event for game fans last month, but some people say the program invades their privacy. The company is being sued for unfair business practices. The suit claims that while a game player is online, the software transmits the gamer's name and email address without their permission or knowledge. Well. Shock horror. Conspiracy, scandal, sensationalism, and all those other lovely words that you associate with stupid tabloid newspapers. So, Blizzard have a history of taking people's details, do they? Or do they? This was back in 1998. Laws have changed. As the advent of the internet has come along, piracy has become a big issue. A bigger issue perhaps now that most people are now aware of it. Spyware has blown the whole thing out of proportion, thinking that spyware can spy on you, take your credit card deals. Well, it can, but most of it doesn't. It may transmit your surfing habits, possibly your email address, list of sites you visited, that's about it. But people will now assume that any kind of attempt to monitor your internet activity is an attempt to steal your details. So back then we had this whole issue of apparently they could get your email address and your name, which is interesting because as far as I'm aware, you gave that out as part of your Battle.net registration. So it's quite logical that Blizzard does have a record of your name and email address because you had to put it in for your Battle.net. Now, effectively what Blizzard then said was they were taking a stance against piracy. Hacks wasn't an issue for CNN, apparently, so it's anti-piracy. Apparently, they were using an anti-piracy feature of the software to help identify which users were using illegal software. And CNN calls this cyber snooping. There's always been a big issue about this. Now, most of us have used, at one point or another, pirate software. I'll freely admit that I've used pirate software at some point in my life. I'm not going to apologise for it. But then again, I'm not going to condone it either. It wasn't necessarily the right thing to do, but at the time, there were reasons for it. And software companies can legitimately protect themselves against that kind of thing. There are ways and means of doing that. I don't agree with the whole CD protection thing. That doesn't help. If people want to get through the CD protection, they will. It's not going to stop anything, really. CD keys work quite well. Accounts and subscriptions work very well. So, back here, Blizzard decided to use this system to try and find out who the pirates were. So if you've got duplicate CD keys, dodgy CD keys, that perhaps were generated using the algorithm they used to generate CD keys, but were on games that were never sold, assuming they had the record of that kind of thing, they would use this information to attempt to track these people down. So, I thought, oh, well, maybe people have read things like this and believe that maybe Blizzard is attempting to do a little bit of cyber snooping there. And I compared it. And when I did compare it, I thought, it's a very similar kind of thing to what they did 8 years ago. And it's a very justified thing. They have every right to try and find out whether or not people are hacking. It's their game. They have a large terms of service list that you agree to. And the old adage applies. If you're innocent, you have nothing to hide. They're not the only people to do it. VAC, for instance, Vant? What the hell's Vant? Valve Anti-Cheat System is a part of Half-Life and Half-Life 2. It's a part of Steam itself. That checks for hacks. You don't see people complaining about that. Only you do. I went to investigate. I used to post a lot on the Steam forums. I'm a big Half-Life fan. I played a lot of Counter-Strike Source in my day, and Counter-Strike 1.6, Firearms, TFC, all that jazz. And I went to the Steam forums, and there's loads of complaints about this so-called cyber snooping. I thought, is this common? So I went to a few other MMOs. Same thing. Oh. So what you're saying is, it's not just Blizzard who are, quote, guilty of this. No, it isn't. It's a culture. It's a culture of fear. If any of you have seen the Michael Moore film Bowling for Columbine, I know some of you may not be Michael Moore fans, and I agree, he blew Fahrenheit 9/11 way out of proportion. But Bowling for Columbine was one of his earlier works and was pretty insightful. Especially if you take it with a pinch of salt, as intended. And he said that America was gripped by a culture of fear. Now, we certainly wouldn't be the only country, but is the internet gripped by a culture of fear? That people believe that every second they're on the internet, someone is trying to hack their computer, steal their details, crash their machine, wipe the hard drive. The RIAA is at your front door, battering it down, ready to machine gun you and your family for downloading a nursery rhyme. The MPAA is going to throw you in the darkest dungeon because you downloaded a copy of, I don't know, Shrek. Is it the company's fault that this little culture of fear has been created? Is it the spammers' fault? Or is it a metaphorical conspiracy of one, but a conspiracy of many? Questions that may never be answered. A scary thought, nonetheless. But yes, the point is, and as so many people have pointed out on the forums, Blizzard is not out to steal your stuff. Calm yourselves down, people, and think logically. It's not in their best interests. They are trying to help you and improve the game. And as far as I'm concerned, if that's what it takes to root out hacking, it should be done. It's not infringing on your liberty or your freedom to play the game. And at the end of the day, that is what you are paying for. And once again, read the terms of service. Okay, you're listening to WoW Radio. You're listening to Blue Please, and welcome to all the new listeners who came in via the little plug on the WoW Europe site. This is Blue Please. It's 2 hours of me ranting into a microphone for no apparent reason at all. And this is a satire warning. The following few minutes of footage has been deemed satirical and sarcastic. It is not to be taken seriously. If you're offended or afraid of such things, please tune out now for the next 2 minutes and 54 seconds, for it is the one and only No Cake News. Welcome to this week's edition of No Cake News. Coming up later, a special report on class balance and the nerve shaming. But first, following recent investigative reports, No Cake News has uncovered a shocking truth. Some players actually enjoy World of Warcraft. The shock discovery came after a message was found on the Popular Sports Forum which gave praise to World of Warcraft. It has been carefully analysed by experts and confirmed to be genuine. It read as follows: I quite like World of Warcraft. It's fun to play. This solitary sentence has sent tremors throughout the World of Warcraft community as its members try to come to terms with the fact that one of their number has succumbed to the teachings of communist liberalism. Reports have been flooding in from all around the world, with rejection and defiance of this outrageous claim being the concurrent themes. First to respond was the Gamers Alliance of Noob Killers Gank and its High Priest Charles Blowhart, and he had this to say: We would reject any and all allegations that the sport of World of Warcraft is at all enjoyable in any way. We find this proposition totally insulting
and it undoubtedly detracts from the hundreds of thousands of man-hours a week our members put in for the purposes of getting the fat loot. Our Chinese division has also informed us that its gold farmers are on strike in protest at these allegations, as they feel insulted by it. Our financial team is predicting a total collapse of the Oriental economy in a matter of days, should this strike continue. We sent a carrier pigeon to Blizzard HQ. It returned smelling of beer and mustard, carrying the following statement. We're investigating the possibility that the elusive fun virus may have infected our source code. Naturally, we cannot allow fun to spread through the game, so we shall be shutting down all servers for an indefinite period of time to ensure that we eradicate any last trace of fun from World of Warcraft. We apologize for any inconvenience that fun may have caused to your grinding experience. In the meantime, we will be activating our emergency backup system, World of Warcraft, in which you can smash your character's head against a brick wall for hours on end. We feel this will provide a similar experience until this issue has been resolved. Nupcake News recommends that you avoid all contact with the fun virus if at all possible. Symptoms include happiness, enjoyment, and pleasure. If you feel that you may be infected, then please insert one Linkin Park album into your CD player and proceed to club yourself with a piece of wood for at least an hour. If you do not possess either of these items, then a more extreme method is available. Install EverQuest on your computer. Nupcake News is not responsible for any injury, physical or otherwise, or horrific death that may occur from the use of this technique. This has been Nupcake News.